But I'm always interested in having people have their ideas jump started and develop ourselves with that entrepreneurial spirit that we have. We have another caller on the line. Caller, may we hear from you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'd like to ask uh,
Mr. Lewis? Uh,
Congress Lewis about on the ballot. Where would we write his name in at?
Well, if you live in the second congressional district, where you would write my name is when you see it says U.S. Representative, second district, or they just have second. You would go to where it says write-in underneath the last name. You have the incumbent, you have the Republican, and then you have the word write-in. You touch the write-in button, and the keyboard would then arise from the bottom of the page. After that, you would be able to see a keyboard, and you would say, put MARCUS space LEWIS and hit the word OK. Then you would see the name you just put there, which would be mine, Marcus Lewis. It would be printed in the box for United States Representative. Very simple. So simple. Anyone can do it.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. Now, Marcus, I noticed that because you have to have a write-in campaign, that you're seeking publicity. And why isn't it that we haven't heard about you on the news?
Well, like I say, good things seem to be hidden under a barrel, which is where they want to put me. I've been blacklisted by every news media in the city of Chicago. All the radio stations, practically. Unless I pay for advertising. There's no free advertising, just to FYI, just to give the public the notice that I'm even alive.
Well, you did get 40,000 votes in the 2012 election. How did that happen?
That happened because people saw fit that they just couldn't vote for the incumbent. They couldn't hold their nose not one more time. And this was a very important moment in history because it gave people the opportunity to finally not be inured to just go along with the get along. And once they broke ranks, they saw that they could vote for a new person with the full assurance of not having a backlash. And we should have won. Yes, we should have. We should have won that race. But now they see they still can vote for me. And having the opportunity to vote for me give them a choice they didn't have. You now have the opportunity to exclude the incumbent, which has no plan. Zero. Only one issue, and that's anti-gun. That's been trumped with concealed carry. Outside of that, there's no plan for employment. There's no plan for jobs. There's no plan for anything. In fact, the incumbent is basically controlled by her senior advisor, which was Congressman Jackson's chief of staff. Now, why would you hire a felon's chief of staff when you get in office? Why would you do that? It's because she is controlled. She's no more than a figurehead. And we don't give $174,000 to a figurehead who absolutely has no idea at all. That to me, Ms. Pugh, makes absolutely no sense at all. We are at a point in history we must move forward and launch out into the deep and not be mired with trying to ensure that the status quo stays in the status quo. We need a new direction and a new way. It's called the right way. If you want the things that you claim you want, then put Marcus Lewis in office. All you have to do is take a moment to say, for 735 days, we will see what a new light, a new spark brings to Congress. You know, I'm like what they call the drop of dawn in a greasy sink of water. One drop, most people have seen the commercial, disperses all of the grease. Just think if we had a whole bottle if we had 434 just like me, fresh and new, vibrant, wanting to bring ideas that will not sell out. I promise you, I will not sell out. There's no amount of money. I am committed to rebuilding this district by any means necessary that is legal, because I am not going to prison. In order to remain a statesman, Ms. Pugh, you must stand your ground, don't take the money, and continually to advocate for the things that the people who entrusted you to go there and do that. Mm-hmm. Even if you are the only one, mm-hmm. advocate for them.
Well, I appreciate your saying that because I can imagine people would say, well, you would be only one voice. What can you really do? But I like very much your comment that at the point we seem to have zero voices. So one can make a difference. We have another caller on the line. May we hear your comment or question?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a question. I live in the South Shore area, which is a food desert. What would you do to change that situation, increase employment in the area, and provide a spirit of hopefulness rather than a spirit of defeat or helplessness?
No, continue. She's gone. First of all, there is no reason why there is no food stores on the south side, southeast side, and the west side of Chicago. Absolutely no, because we still eat. And we still buy food, so now we have to travel that much farther. So they're making where you do buy food an oasis. And that's why we live in some sort of a desert. It's because the land we're on is valuable. And they're trying to drive us out, caller. That is the issue. So what I want to do is to ensure by my very presence, me being a citizen legislator, not a politician, but a citizen legislator, I will advocate from right where you are. And I would stand on these places where I said, now there needs to be a Carol's. Let's say we're going to make a new grocery store, or Brown's, or Love to Eat grocery store chain. And I will stand on a deserted piece of property and said, this needs to be cultivated for a grocery store. And don't you think because a brand new congressman will advocate for those issues, you better believe the media will be coming. And the national media will wonder also, well, why don't you have grocery stores? A whole neighborhood of people, a whole plethora of people who have families and nobody has nowhere to shop. I guarantee action will be taken. You don't have that now because everybody's doing the same thing and they're allowing this to occur. That's because everyone has sold out. You must bring in a new breed that will be absolutely committed to you.
Well, I appreciated that a while back you used that word inured. And I happen to have looked it up lately and talked about it with some people. And I discovered that the definition of that word is accustomed to accepting the undesirable.
Absolutely.
So the idea of our people not having resources, not having things that happen for them because of our really being complacent about what has happened. We do have marches and demonstrations and protests sometimes, but after that, then the people just go back to what they were doing and we remain in our state of inurement. So I'm very happy to hear you talking about specific plans to break that up. And of course, that means that the people themselves have to wake up, as our song was indicating, and then think of something else to do rather than continuing the same thing that we had. Did we have our caller? Did we lose our caller?
Yeah, good evening to y'all. What your guest saying is true about resources, and everybody else got resources. They should have resources in the black community. Instead of going to another neighborhood and shop, they should have grocery stores in the neighborhood instead of Arab stores. And y'all doing a good job.
Thank you very kindly. Mm-hmm. My whole focus, if I may, my whole focus for being a candidate is that I have gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired. You ever remember that? Fannie Lou Hamer said that. And for me to be 55, I'm now in the spark of my life that I have now had enough experience to know. and old enough that no one can at least talk against me, that the people need someone, not a leader, but they just need someone that will give them the spark and influence that we can too. And we matter. We are Americans just like anyone else. We just happen to be of color. And I enjoy my color just like someone else of their culture and enjoys their color. And so we're not to be second class to anyone, but we do deserve to be respected. And in order to be respected, we must not tolerate the type of leadership we've been so-called spoon-fed. And so that's why my mother used to say to men, I wish one of you all would step up. To men, step up and take your role. And so I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm not one that wants to sell out and, well, we know we've come so far and we got a long way to go. We've already been a long way. We're a lot closer to the realization of the dream than we ever have. The long way means we'll never get there. Every generation said the same thing. And what I'm saying is we're now in 2014. Start out by putting Marcus Lewis in the 2nd Congressional District seat, and I guarantee you'll see more to follow. Because we must move aside those that don't want to let go of their seats because they're doing nothing but being in the way. If the future generations are to be of worth to anyone, our children must see the examples that we claim are not there. Oh, they're there all right. It's just that, just like when you dethatch your lawn every spring, you must remove the old growth. It has to go. I'm only asking for 3 terms. And if I do not get the numbers turned around, I will step aside for someone else. But by that time, I would have made enough impact that the person that comes behind me will be able to say, well done, Marcus. I really appreciate you took it this far. Now we've got maybe 10, 15 of us. Now I'll take it the rest of the way. Or I'll take it to the 50-yard line, maybe down to the 10-yard line, may even score a touchdown, meaning our community will look far better and far different than it does now.
Well, I can appreciate that, and I appreciate what your mother said. My mother, too, used to say, well, look at so many people. We've had certain accomplishments, but it seems like everybody ought to think about what legacy do they leave, what monument will they make, even the regular person. So I guess if we began to think in terms of that, we would look forward to working more closely with each other to make plans, to make different things happen that would cause our community to not remain in the same state of inequality that is so prevalent among us. There are certain sound bites that I think of that, such as, it's not that black people don't know we're equal. It's not that white people don't know we're equal. It's just black people don't know we're equal. Absolutely. And we act like that in a lot of ways in our treatment of each other and our misalignment with each other, so that we're not cooperating to make the things that are necessary happen in our community. And I personally think that the Tea Party should not have the advantage of using that finite period of 2 years to get things done. You know, they didn't like what happened in 2008. They immediately made something different happen in the Congress 2012 and 2014. And I realize they are working on their 2-year plan for after 2014.
Absolutely.
So we really need to learn how to begin to get together and connect the knots in our net so that it works for everybody. And we can make that progress. Someone is on the line. Do we have another caller? Well, at this point, we what I was hoping that we would be able to encourage some of the callers in is to call up and say, what plans can we make? They might have some suggestions on how to make your campaign more successful, and then talk about some plans that we need to get together and create for our whole community at large. We are just about out of time. We have a few more minutes though, but I wanted to make a point. We have a little illustration on the wall, and it's an illustration of crabs in a barrel. It's really a scary picture. I wonder if we could put that on the screen for the audience to see. It's you know, zombies are so popular now, and so people like being scared a little bit. Even though I don't think we should stay in the this state of terror that we are currently in, socioeconomically and so forth. But that picture of the crabs in the barrel shows that one is out, in fact, and the others are doing their regular thing, I guess, crabbing on each other, and that's a popular phrase in our community, that's I know. Correct. And I like, though, when we had a conversation, you kind of envision yourself as the crab who's out of the barrel.
Oh yes, I'm definitely out of the barrel because I cannot condone nor go along with. It's not in my DNA to believe that there's nothing we can do. I cannot believe that. The resources after I got out of that so-called barrel, because I mushed around in that barrel too for a while, but I finally found out that there was a life on the outside. And that life means the resources that black folks have been denied is there. I've seen it. You know, when Martin Luther King said he's been to the mountaintop, and he looked over and he's seen the promised land. Well, we're in the promised land, but we don't want to be like slaves, or we're being brought back into some sort of slavery where freedom is all around us, just not where we are. The resources are all around us, just not where we are. That is unfair for our future generations to go on thinking that there's nothing we can do. We have children who are sagging with their pants. I just tell people, spell the word sagging backwards and it'll tell you what they really think of you and who they say you really are. And so I'm asking them to pull their pants up and have some dignity about yourself. That has to be taught. But I'm not here to disparage you because I understand why they want to give you an image of yourself that's backwards. And so we're going for the very thing they're going for. These seats, especially of Congress, cost millions of dollars. But I found out it doesn't take $1 million to get elected. All you have to have is the timing, people to be ready. And I believe they're ready because we're not going to put someone in office that has no plan. My 2-year plan will jumpstart our community to where we're going to be now asking for the very resources that are due us. It's just that these resources have been diverted. And why have they been diverted? To the same status quo that is keeping us in this type of condition. Now, I'm not against them so much so. I understand why they did it. But the problem of it is, it's time out for that. I'm not going to hand to you or continue to hand to you the things that need to come to us, that are deserving of us. We are Americans as well, and I want us to stand up and act like it because we are living in a free society and they are taking our freedoms away. And the only way they're going to continue to do that is you continue to bend over. Martin Luther King said, if you want to get them off your back, stand up. That's what I want you to do, stand up and stand up with me and vote for me.
You had a jingle.
Yes.
Write in or type in.
MARCUSLEWIS
For Congress.
I would appreciate it very much if you would play that again because there's a note I'd like to make. The fact is, I like that jingle very much, and if you hum along with it, you have a great opportunity to harmonize at the end.
Absolutely.
So what I would love...
Write in or type in.
MARCUSLEWIS
For Congress.
And what I'm looking for and hoping to see in my lifetime is the harmony that can develop in our people. And in fact, I also noted in the song, Lift Every Voice and Sing, there's a certain point where they let our rejoicings rise, skies the clear listening skies, let it resound loud as the low rolling seas. And there's a certain word there when you sing the song that it automatically brings harmony to all the voices that are singing it. So in reference to our crabs in the barrel syndrome, we that is one of the obstacles that we definitely have to overcome. And going against the political power, the fear of going against the political power is something that we have to overcome. The lack of confidence in each other is a great problem that we have to overcome. But we can do this by beginning to make plans. Lou Palmer said that we might not agree with each other on, we don't agree on everything, but the things we agree on, let's work together on. I noticed that all the problems that are prevalent in our community and elsewhere, there's one black person or one organization that's already working on it. These organizations really need to begin to combine with each other to increase their power, the strength of their efforts in working on an issue, to begin to solidify the coalitions that we have to work on all of our problems, and to make our net work. I had a friend who said his staff wanted him to go to a certain event. He says, "Why am I going there?" They said, "To network." He said, "The net don't work." Well, our net has got to begin to work, and it takes plans to do that. Nobody is doing anything, and the power system is not did not get control nor maintain control working by themselves. And we see each pluralistic group of our society coalescing and presenting their agenda of what they need, of their needs, and then everybody working together to in their various and diverse ways to make that happen.
How about this?
So this is what we absolutely need. This is the kind of way plans we need to begin to develop and assimilate in our community. I had a note here from a person when I first became interested in your campaign, because I think it is the perfect 2-year plan. It has a capacity and a potential to help so many people, so that interests me. I think in terms of generations and what's happening to a wide number of people, because my mother was old. And so when I was speaking to a friend about your campaign, immediately the crabs in the barrel syndrome seemed to spark, or that Willie Lynch syndrome. A lot of people roll their eyes. I don't know whether Willie Lynch was fictitious or not, but the syndrome certainly seems to prevail, where we have that divisiveness among us. And we come together to say we're going to resolve certain problems, but we just won't hold our situations together enough to
How about this, if I may interject? We don't need a pile of chiefs. Someone has to be an Indian. And there's honor in being an Indian. Martin Luther King said that if you push the broom, be the best street sweeper.
Absolutely.
Because people will see that the street was done in an excellent way. And there's nothing wrong with being a chief, but lead. Everyone, sometimes leaders need to be led. And we're not asking for a rush to the steering wheel, because, you ever notice some people like to be driven, but they're being driven to a place where they're going to go to work when they get off. We need to work together in such a way that we're working in one accord, that our goal to get the jobs, the money, and the resources, because communities must have an economy. It's not based all on money, because money is a good thing. It's the love of it that has caused people to go to prison. And we just need it to be dispersed in the right place, water our community in such a way, because my 2-year plan gives us that. And it takes care of the education, it takes care of the job issue. We need a place to work, a place to worship, a place to live. We need for the infrastructure to be rebuilt. We're on valuable land. Let's hold on to it. Let's demand the things from those that have, to relinquish those things that should be ours. And we want to go to the halls of power and have a real seat at the table by someone that actually will be taking their agenda to the table and advocating for them, because this man right here will not sell you out.
Well, I'm going to trust you on that.
Thank you.
I really wish I could vote for you. But not being in your district, I can't do that. But I certainly feel the need to support you in your endeavor to, as an ordinary citizen who stepped up to do an extraordinary thing,
That's all.
and your effort to, your passion to look out for your fellow man and provide the impetus, the plan that will help them reach their potential.
That's
too.
all it is. I have taken up the mantra, it's not about me, it's about we. Because if we have something, I always told a person, I don't want to live next to a person, and don't take this as a slap or take it out of context. I don't want to live next door to unemployed people. Because while I'm bringing in my groceries and my barbecue and they can smell the food and see my lights and gas on, they're sitting there in the dark. I can't have that. I'd have to take my food over to them, or let's see what we can work out. Or why are you in this condition? If you have no job, let's get you a job. If you see no schools, no grocery stores, let's put some grocery stores there. The teachers need a classroom full of bright and well-fed students. These are basic things any culture would want to have, and that's what I want you to have, because we deserve it, and I wanted to make sure that we have it.
Well, we just have a short time to go. Upon learning about your campaign, I asked the person to come over who I know had worked with politicals before and helped put a couple of prominent people in office. But I was so surprised when he came that his response was the typical crab in the barrel response, and I was just shocked. So I took the time. Then he went away and later sent me an apology. And I took the time to make a call and response to his the letter that he sent me. He said, "I'm sorry, Yvonne. I just could not take any more of this guy who says he has all of the answers, but then he has lost in previous campaign attempts." Response: so did Obama and most other candidates.
Absolutely.
He said he got knocked off the ballot. Well, so did veteran John Conyers, who was, until today, facing the very real possibility of being a write-in himself, had not the judge ruled in his favor of allowing him to keep his signatures. He says, and he lost his job. I say, which is further injustice, now making him a victim of systemic status quo. And who sent the Office of Special Counsel on an unknown candidate anyway? He says, because he was not aware, but as a federal employee, that he could not run for a federal office and that his federal employer should have told him about the Hatch Act.
That's right.
I said, should have being the operative term. There exists no proof or evidence that the United States Post Office did their part in making their employees aware of the Hatch Act and its implications. He said, okay, he got 49,000 votes. Well, it's 40,006, you told me? But were these votes for him, or were they simply protest ballots related to the Jackson mess? I said, well, the 49 or 40,006 votes is a significant number of votes, especially considering that the fullness of the Jackson mess was not known then. You did not hear the complaints that I heard from Junior's constituents when I volunteered on the phone bank, which, was very disappointing to me. Finally, he said, to say that he is too busy to call organization leaders, however they should call him, reflects political silliness. I said, well, why wouldn't the organizations who sincerely want to see change in politics call or check out a candidate who offers himself for the community benefit? So I'm very glad that I met you, Mr. Lewis. I'm very glad that I came upon the fact that you are a citizen who became a candidate, that you have a two-year plan that we can work with, and I hope that the people knowing about you will support it. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty.
Writing or typing.
MARCUSLEW us
for Congress.